Good afternoon, everybody. We have hit Tuesday, May 26th, and we have reached the K's in my vinyl dive. Starting up with King Biscuit Boy. It's his best of album. King Biscuit Boy was an artist I was aware of and picked this up mostly as a chance to dig into his material more. I like the stuff, but I'm not sure I would dig too much deeper into his catalog. Killing Joke up next. Band, I picked this up at one of the record shows in Guelph a couple of years ago. Good album. I don't know too much about Killing Joke as well. I sort of heard them a little bit more from checking out the 80s station on Sirius XM in my car. The Kinks. This one's one of my very favorites. People will be familiar with This Beat Goes On / Switch Into Glide. Probably their biggest hit. You'd hear it on Q107 or maybe 97.7 hits on occasion. But it's a fantastic album. Klaatu. They were... the urban legend that initially floated around was that this was the Beatles under a new name. Obviously not true. People will be familiar with their first song, Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft. It's a fun, psych-ish type album. Next is Gene Krupa, Drum and Man. It's a double album. I picked this one up as a result of becoming a Rush fan, listening to interviews with Neil Peart and reading articles about him. He references Gene Krupa frequently as an influence. So when I stumbled on this at a used shop, definitely had to pick it up. Good album. Has to be the right place at the right time, though. The Kinks, live. Fun album. Like the Kinks. Probably one of the more influential bands, but they don't frequently get the accolades they probably deserve. There's certainly no doubt that they're an important band. Probably the big thing is the relationship between the Davies brothers and the bands and how piss poor it is. This one's a pretty good one. Came with a poster that I still have. It's intact. It's a double album, and also came with a 7-inch of Victoria. Last one is King Crimson. I have two of their albums. In the Court of the Crimson King, which will be the one that most people recognize, and also Starless and Bible Black. Two great albums, definitely of a prog rock leaning. When it comes to King Crimson, it's primarily Robert Fripp. I have a couple of Fripp albums and spoke about him a few days ago during F's. King Crimson, who have reformed a few years ago and toured last year. They were actually in Toronto, which was sort of on my wish list, but finding somebody to go to a very proggy show can be challenging sometimes. It's definitely a nerdish type leaning of music. But the history of King Crimson includes guys like Greg Lake, who were Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Spoke about them a few days ago. Bill Bruford, who was off and on in the band Yes, who will definitely be coming up when we hit Wise. And lastly, Adrian Belew, who has been with everybody, been on everything. Specifically, he's played most recently with Trent Reznor and 9 Inch Nails. He's been involved with David Bowie. You name it, in the last 30 years, Belew's been there. So that's it for the K's. Have a few L's tomorrow, so we'll dig into them then. Have a great day.